That's lovely. 3, 2, 1.
Grammar schools are making a comeback.
Number 5 then, Grumio est Coquus.
For the first time in decades, there's a serious debate about whether to expand selective education.
What gets me the edge in Townley?
But what happens when children are separated into selective and non-selective schools at 11 years old?
But I got this. I can't teach a kid like this.
For one term, we followed the stories of children in a leading grammar school and, 2 miles down the road, a local secondary modern.
Oi, Tyrone, stop it!
As they struggle to adapt to school discipline.
If he doesn't shut, I'm going to punch him in the head.
Bradley.
You're already in a lot of trouble as it is.
Okay.
And I'm really disappointed.
And even face the threat of exclusion.
I can't get all the content that I missed back.
But this decision, that is a fait accompli.
What impact does the selective system have on the next 5 years of their lives?
Morning, sir.
Mr. Cully is the head of Year 9 at Erith School, a large secondary modern in southeast London with 1,700 pupils.
Kids like a choice. You give them a choice, 9 times out of 10 they'll make the right one, as long as they know what's going to happen if they make the wrong choice.
Part of his job is to tackle bad behaviour. He's been called to a classroom incident.
Miss, what's the issue?
The issue is that I found Dapo in the keyboard cupboard, on top of the keyboard.
Right, I'm going to
So-
remove him. Camille, get outside.
Why?
Because you need to grow up fast. Dapo, get your stuff and get out of the classroom. You've already had a warning today. You need to grow up. That's why you've got so much low-level disruption. You're just trying to rope other people into it so you can all laugh together. It's not funny. I want a perfect lesson for the rest of the 20 minutes. Get back inside. Right, Dapo. Stand there. Why are you in the cupboard on top of the keyboards? And your silence is golden at this point.
I got pushed in there.
You got pushed in there. It wasn't your fault. All the rest of it, nonsense. Take some responsibility for your actions. Some behaviour is just completely pointless, and it's such a massive waste of everybody's time. The kids, they're losing their learning time. The parents become frustrated because the kids aren't achieving in school, and that's a prime example of why they're not achieving in school, because they're choosing to misbehave if they see an opportunity, and it's unacceptable.
The London Borough of Bexley is one of just 10 areas in England with a fully selective education system. Primary school pupils take the 11+ selection test. The highest achieving go to grammar schools, the rest to secondary moderns like Erith. In 2016, Ofsted told Erith it needed to improve student behaviour. Soon after, head teacher Stephanie Allen took over and embarked on a major clampdown.
The majority of our students will say they are fed up with the low-level disruption in lessons, where the teacher is having to spend some time, a lot of the time in that lesson, to manage behaviour.
I'm asking, and I'm not asking, I'm telling you, I should not be able to see any uniform of Erith School after 3:45 on the Heath.
So I've taken a stance this year that we've got to address the issue.
But we are working together. Students, staff, we are a team. And your future is bright at Erith School.
Two miles away is Townley, a girls' grammar school with 1,500 pupils. Pupils here got through the 11+ selection test. Ofsted inspectors praised behaviour here as exceptional.
We are not now that strength which in days of old moved earth and heaven.
That which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will. To strive, to seek to find, and not to yield. And that's our motto. And that will be your motto now, your time in Townley. You are more than capable, like Odysseus, of facing those challenges and striving on.
Standards are high here in terms of behaviour. Can it be respectful, courteous, polite, caring? That's behaviour. Quite honestly, having spent at least half of my educational career outside of grammar schools, I honestly don't think I'm doing anything different than I would do in any school. And I think you get the behaviour you deserve.
Off we go now. Stroke and go, stroke and go.
You'll see Macy.
Erith wants to put an end to disruptive behaviour. 5 children have even been excluded from school for good.
Come on. Missy took me out of Spanish then.
15-year-old Chi-Chi is in her GCSE year. She was on course for good grades. But then she was excluded for 3 weeks for bad behaviour. She's only just returned to school.
Come in. Right. Why I've called you up now is we're going to move you into a different form. You're right next to your office if you do need to know. So it's to supervise me.
Support you.
It's to supervise
support
me.
You, Chi-Chi.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So you're in Milne now. Might want to change that on your planner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, miss.
All right then.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Chi-Chi's exclusion followed a playground fight where a teacher was hit. Another serious incident, and she could risk being permanently excluded.
Well, it honestly wasn't my fault. Not a problem. I've never been excluded before. They're monitoring me. It's not like we're taking care of you. They're monitoring me to make sure I don't go off the rails or something.
Well, she knows she's a top set student. She knows she's going to achieve well, and obviously we want those students in the school that are going to get us good grades, and she knows that. But unfortunately, that can't carry you if your behaviour is really poor. So there needs to be a balance of the two.
Exactly what that's telling us here. So you guys should remember things about the
Chi-Chi's ambition is to study medicine.
increasing the temperature of the reaction.
When she was 11, she just missed out on going to grammar school.
Obviously, it's better to pass the 11 plus and go to a grammar school. The results came in an envelope with the Bexley Borough sign on it. I remember light shining through the window, and I opened it up, and I failed.
Ah.
And I failed. I hate saying that because I hate failure, but I did. I was sort of like, okay, well then maybe there's a plan. It's meant to go this way. But if I went to a grammar school, it would have most probably been Townley or Bexley Grammar. And it probably would have impacted friendships, relationships with teachers, everything. Anything would be different in a different environment and a situation. Everything would be different.
Morning, everyone.
Here comes that, ladies.
Scarf off once you get inside, girls. Do you want a stroke, Nosy? Oh, she loves it, look.
At Townley Grammar, Assistant Head Linda Blaisby is in charge of behaviour and pastoral care.
Earphones up, please. Earphones up, please, my lady. Wrong coats, come over here, please. Uniform cards. Trying to get past me.
We pick up quite low-level stuff here because we think it's quite important to do that fairly swiftly. It's better to nip things in the bud.
Katie, skirt's very short.
It's long enough when I walk.
Sort it out, all right, because it keeps riding up. Guys, you are now late. You're going to have to report to student services. Sixth form, you know where to go. Mind up, Maisie.
Exclusions at Townley are very rare.
Girls, if you're on your way to assembly, quiet, please.
The girls here tend to follow the rules.
So firstly, good morning, Seven Aphrodite. Okay, I'm here this morning
Just to remind you about a few things about conduct and behaviour around the school. OK, so it's come to my notice that in Year 7 there has been some what we're going to call play fighting. So at Townley we have a very clear policy, no physical contact, because it can go from play fighting to getting quite physical. Deep down the students know when they're crossing the line. Coming in here from Year 7, I'm hoping that you've seen we start with values and reasons why we behave, etc. So it's not just these are the rules, follow them. They have an opportunity here to do well, but behaviour is very key. Could I just ask you, please, if you don't mind, to confirm that Moesha is going to be here? And obviously don't give her any ideas if she says, what have I got planned to see Mrs. Blaze, but that'd be lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you, bye.
But not all Townley pupils toe the line.
Miss, she looks like an idiot.
Moesha, who's also in her GCSE year, has been reported for making disrespectful remarks during a PE class.
Don't even think about walking on that grass. Get off the grass, come on. Please, so you not allowed to do that.
She's one of the few who kicks against the rules.
On the day of the 11 plus, Mum was like to me, are you sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah, why not? It's fun. And then so I go there, I sit down, and she was like, how was the exam? I was like, yeah, it was good. Everyone was just like, guessing, oh, it was so easy. It was so easy. 4 people in my class passed, and about 25 people did it.
Moesha has a history of minor infringements at Townley. Backchat to teachers, uniform violations, and even occasional lateness.
So people are like, oh, I'm aiming for a 4, I'm aiming for a 5. You do that. Yeah. I'm not involved.
It's a good school, like education-wise and stuff. I feel like if I was in a normal school, I would have been in a lot less trouble, kind of thing. Because loads of the things I got in trouble for were like minor things. And in comparison to some things that other people are doing, this is nothing. But then again, this is Townley, so.
Moesha, you haven't been to my office in a long time. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? A good thing, usually for you. However, I do want to have a catch-up because we did spend a lot of time last year, all right, and I did have to see you quite regularly. So, how's it in the form room?
It's good, I like Miss McDougall.
In the tutor group?
Yeah.
The friendship issue?
There is no friendship.
It's all sorted? Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so I want you now to really truthfully reflect where your behaviour was not where it should have been, Moesha. Oh. So something happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Just I was making like comments.
You were making comments that weren't necessary. That is a real slip back. And I'm really disappointed. Is Mrs. Blaisby likely to get any other information where you have been misbehaving?
No.
Absolutely? Yeah. Because at the moment, I'm going to say it's one subject and I'm not going to be putting you in report, calling mum in, etc. But if I find it's more, Moesha, then that will be set completely right up.
Yeah.
You have incredible potential. Don't waste your opportunities, all right?
I've been in so much trouble that I don't think about the school positively anymore.
What worries me now, Moesha?
As positively as I would if I was like an angel all the time. I just want to leave.
Okay, miss, I'll try and get there before the bell goes. Is it a serious incident, do you know?
I don't know.
There's a shout from science classroom, G24. Welcome.
Jason Tremaine is in charge of what's called behaviour support at Erith School. He's a busy man.
If it's a low-level disruption, they'll be removed and taken over to the reflection room for the remainder of that lesson. If it's a serious incident, then statements have to be collected and the investigation has to go on a bit further. You need to sort yourself out, don't you?
He's been called to a Year 7 class where a pupil has pulled a chair out from underneath a girl.
Hi, sir.
We've had a bit of a commotion. Bradley has pulled Daisy's chair away. She's in tears in the prep room here.
Right, okay.
I'm going to have to make a behaviour report.
Yep.
There's the man there.
Yeah, I know, Bradley.
Okay, so do you want to keep him here?
No, I'll take him with me.
Okay, so Bradley, come here.
He moved
I'll
the
make
chair.
her, yep, and she fell over, hurt her back.
Right,
in
it's
tears.
first and over.
Not yet, no.
Okay, Bradley, come with me, please. She fell on the floor. You hurt herself? You don't know.
Disruptive students are taken to the Reflection Room in Erith's Specialist Student Wellbeing Centre. It's staffed by a team of 10 mentors who also work with other pupils who need to be taught outside mainstream lessons.
Hello, Bradley.
Hello.
How was your weekend?
Good.
Was it?
Yeah.
You could tell me all about it, can't you?
Yeah.
Gonna come next door?
Yeah.
Yeah? Go on then.
Bradley has ADHD. He only joined the school a few weeks ago, but Erith's mentors have identified that he needs intervention and support just to keep him in school.
Did you see Mum this weekend?
No, we didn't have. Well, we were too busy.
You were too busy. Okay.
Cleaning
Do you miss
up
it when
the
you don't
house.
see Mum?
Huh?
Do you miss it when you don't see Mum?
No.
You okay with it? Is there anything you don't want me to ask you?
I'm a dog.
You don't want me to ask you about your dog?
Yeah.
Was that upset you? Okay, my darling.
He died 5 years ago.
Okay. And you still miss him? What sort of dog was he?
Border collie.
With Bradley, it goes beyond behaviour. There's something more there with him. But, of course, being in a school, he's got to comply with the rules here.
It can be really difficult for Year 7s when they come in. There's so much to get used to. But sometimes we have to do things that sort of fit in with other people, and that's sort of what you're having to learn.
He struggles in a group of 6, so you can imagine what it's like in a group of 30, trying not to distract other kids. We really are supporting him the best we can. I'm just hoping that it's enough to keep him in school.
This term, there are 212 children receiving regular extra support from the wellbeing team at Erith. That's more than 1 in 10 of the school population.
It is a secondary modern school, and therefore we have a lot of students here that come with some baggage. In a grammar school, you won't have that challenge, so we're not on a level playing field with those students who maybe come from better starting points in their backgrounds.
The government provides extra funding for pupils from disadvantaged backgrounds and with special needs. Erith receives about 25% more per pupil than Townley Grammar, about £1,500 for every student.
We get the same basic funding, but because of the top-up funding that a school would receive because of the circumstances of their students, their funding gets much higher. And it is skewed, it's imbalanced, because they're getting funded several times for the same issue. And this is significant amounts of funding that schools receive for that disadvantage, which we don't. Very often the perception is the grammar schools, because of what they do, somehow have more funding.
In the sentence.
It's not the case. We don't receive any additional funding. In fact, Townley is one of the lowest funded schools in this local authority, even though it's the highest achieving.
Just on my way to science.
Lisa Courtley is head of Year 11 at Erith, but today she's on behaviour patrol. With 60 classes underway across the school, she responds to radio calls from teachers and removes disruptive pupils.
This one, I think I just want to talk to him about the inappropriate things that have been drawn all over his book.
In most lessons, behaviour is good, but too many are undermined by disruptive students.
Do you want to get your stuff? Come with me. Hurry up. Was that a patrol call?
Yes, it was a patrol call, please, for B52. Thank you.
Okay, just in science. I'll be over there as soon as I can.
What are they doing?
We'll find out in a minute. I'm on my way now.
I'm upstairs.
Good morning. Thank you, Year 7, be seated. I have patrol call.
Every single lesson, the same people, every single lesson. They stop the class from learning.
If they're disrupting the learning of others, we let their parents know that unfortunately they can't join the rest of the class to do their English lesson.
Mr. Appio, gate 2, patrol
Right, I'm going to go back to science. If I have to come back, I'll be removing.
Thank you, miss.
Patrol receiving. Okay, on my way. Whew. Really wish you'd be removing from patrol call, but with that one, it's the whole class. It's going to be difficult. Okay, I'll try and pick that up on the way to G14. B35, that's down here, I think. Patrol call? Who's coming with me? Grab your stuff, hurry up, because I've got another one to collect. Come on, quick, have another patrol call. You're going to need to be quicker than that, because you need to keep up with me. Hey, who needs removing, sir? Thank you. Right, let's go. Hurry up. So not following instructions. It's like the other side of the school. Who's been removed, miss? 2 of them, hurry up.
During the 2017 autumn term, Behaviour Patrol removed 1,528 students from lessons at Erith, roughly 20 a day.
Better hope I don't come back to get anyone else.
So what are you trying to say? I don't understand what you're saying.
Chi-Chi is at risk of being permanently excluded just 6 months before she sits her GCSEs. But she's still pushing her luck.
I know the type of person you are. You just want to don't react. Yeah, you want to react. You want to react to everything.
She needs to keep her head down because she's got her GCSEs coming up. If she keeps being argumentative, they're gonna find as a way to get her out of school. They're out to get you. You need to just keep your head down and ignore them.
Even if you're right, if you keep doing this, you're just going to get yourself in trouble.
Today, she's been given an after-school detention, which is at the same time as an important revision class.
What? Why is she looking at me? What? Yes? Yeah? Yes?
Do you want to think about how you're speaking to me first?
I just said yeah.
Yeah, it came across as being quite rude. Are you going to revision classes?
No, I have a detention room this morning.
Okay, do you want to get up there now then?
Right, you can go. Oh, you've got all your stuff. Give your stuff back.
Like a billion people.
Right, good.
Miss, I have Spanish revision to get to because I have a speaking tomorrow.
You need to go outside. You've got a detention.
But I have my Spanish exam and I can already.
We'll talk about it in a minute. Just wait outside for me, please. Right, Chi-Chin, come please. Here you go. We've got all this stuff in your ears that we've spoken about. You're actually putting it back in throughout the day after taking it out, aren't you?
You can't confiscate my earrings.
So are you refusing then?
No, I'm not. Fine.
Just shove them in there. Okay, thank you. You've got to get your detentions out of the way. You cannot go to revision, otherwise you'll be stopped from going to revision and you'll be picked up for your detention.
That can't. You're telling me I can't revise.
You have.
As though you're telling me.
If you'd have popped up here at break or lunch.
But you're never up here at break or lunch. Whenever I come up here.
We are here.
I have my mops. I'm not going to come up to detention when I have revision classes.
You need to stop getting detentions then, don't you? Right? You got detentions for not doing your homework.
Well, you're picking on me. Like, why? Even in PE, you're picking on me. I wasn't even talking. You pulled me out. You're always calling me up to Heady V. You're always calling me out of lesson. Why?
Because you're not following the school procedures, and the way you communicate with staff on occasions can be very negative, can't it? You know this, and we've discussed this.
No, because to me it looks like I came back from a 16-day exclusion and everyone is on my case.
Sit down.
But no, I don't want to sit down.
Okay. You're getting quite irate now.
I'm not irate.
If you feel, angry, we can sit down and discuss it.
Do you know what? I think you need to leave. All right, I'm not prepared to have her speaking like that, so you can go. All right.
She wants to go to revision.
Well, so I'm not prepared to have her even talking to us like that. Her attitude is really poor, and she thinks it's okay to talk to, her deputy head of year and head of year in that way. Well, it's not.
So you came down the stairs to tell me that?
The drive to improve behaviour means that Erith will no longer tolerate pupils who don't cooperate.
She's a very capable student who should be getting very high marks if she is still at the school. Because if she doesn't stop this behaviour, she won't be here.
At At Townley Grammar, Moesha is also under pressure. Despite the warnings from Mrs. Blaisby, she's in detention again.
You can't expect me to like a school when I constantly get in trouble. I just want to get this year over and done with. I'm just sick of this place.
Shoes off. Shoes off.
Moesha lives with her mum, dad and 3 younger sisters.
What's
wrong with cauliflower? It's not. It's very nice. It's...
So you take it then and we'll...
You guys are just unhealthy.
She's got a decision to make, whether or not to stay at Townley for her A-levels.
I'm still in a state of like, do I want to stay, do I not want to? But the aim is just like to do really good in my mocks, to get good predicted grades. Because for our Townley sixth form, you're already in internal, but for the other schools, you need to put down your predicted grades. So I just think it's important that I get the grades I need to, you know, yeah.
It's good to be adventurous, but it's good to be realistic also. You know, because reality is in a grammar school, because they're there on merit, chances are they really want to learn. You know, whereas on a normal school, it's a bit of, you know, you have some who really want to learn, and you have some who don't really want to be there. And that is why I'm in favor of staying in Townley.
Everyone wants me to learn.
Again, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
My parents were forcing me towards Townley, but like, I don't know whether I'm gonna stay or not. It's mostly attitude, pretty much. That's mostly what I've got in trouble for. But like, Townley pins down on it so much more than other schools do. Some of my friends that aren't in grammar school still do really good. But as a Townley student, so you've got to be like this, you've got to be like that, don't do this, don't do that. And I just feel like if you're doing well and like revising and doing what you need to do, I just don't see the problem.
Go and have a look at yourself. You look like a dog's dinner. Oh, you fell out of a skip.
Since his parents separated, 11-year-old Bradley has lived with his brother George and his dad.
Got your tie? I must get your tie on. Have you done your sandwiches, George? Come do sandwiches, please. 1.5 years now we've been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done a bit of sofa surfing, didn't we, son?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to do a little bit of that for a little while, so it was a lot of fun. We're Nutella in today, George?
Yeah.
I'm usually having a nervous breakdown by about this time of the morning.
Medication.
Yeah. Keep both feet on the floor, don't it, son?
Yeah.
Bradley's been on ADHD medication for 2 years.
Stops the teachers having a nervous breakdown, doesn't it, babe?
I don't think it works, though.
I mean, they're beautiful boys, but you're never going to split the atom eye, son.
No.
You know?
Right, good.
Yes, with a pickaxe. You're going to go down the same kind of work route as me, you know, be good with his hands, rather than,
I'm
yeah.
already good with my hands. My Xbox skills pay off.
You can't get a job out of playing Xbox, so...
Yeah, you can.
You have a good day, yeah?
To reduce disruption in the class, Erith School have put Bradley in their transition stream, where smaller classes help students adjust to life at secondary school.
Right. Do we know what the story of Hamlet is about?
It's kind of like a love story and like a comedy. But that's 12th night.
A love story and a comedy?
Yeah, where like they get...
Bradley, I want to hear what opinions you have, but you've got to put your hand up if you want to talk, OK? Is that agreed?
In the transition drama class, Bradley is studying Shakespeare with Mr. Nicolau.
OK. OK, I'm going to go through this really quickly. Bradley?
If he doesn't shut up, I'm going to punch him in the head.
No, mate, you won't be. And I don't want you to say anything to wind him up. People are talking. It's been told that there is a ghost. Just follow the lines. Bradley? Right, I'm now giving you a verbal warning, OK? I'm going to make a note of that. OK, so, it's about his brother becoming the king. And does that remind you of a story?
Yeah.
What story? Something you know.
Romeo and Juliet.
One second. Bradley, I've given you a verbal warning. I'm going to put your name up on the boards now. We're at second stage. Do you understand? And I'm pretty sure you don't want to get to fourth stage where I end up calling for patrol, because that will happen. Do you understand that? I can't make it any clearer than that.
But if I end up back in there, yeah?
Right. What I like...
Okay. Sir?
Right. Okay. Bradley, you need to stop. Listen, I'm not seeing people listening. I'm seeing people talking to each other. You're talking out again. Guys, listen, Jake, why am I being interrupted? Right? The flow of this lesson is being interrupted constantly. It's not on. In terms of where he's at, Bradley is someone who enjoys drama, he enjoys performing in front of the rest of the class.
We're acting now. I'm in my throne.
He's confident, and that helps him. But the behaviour issues gets in the way of him really progressing.
Prince Hamlet. Prince is Prince. Who's Prince?
You're amazingly patient.
Yes, I am amazingly patient, and sometimes that pays off, and other times there's a line you've got to draw and just remove a particular student who is, causing low-level disruption from the class and from the lesson. So what are you going to be doing over Christmas?
Nothing much.
Nothing much.
Oh, I can't see my niece and that's it.
Going to what?
Probably going to see my niece, that's it.
Your niece? Right.
Yeah.
Family time. That's nice.
I can't see my brother.
No?
No. How can I? The prison's shot. He's in jail.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Right.
The students at Era School, they're great, but one student actually just causing disruption or having displaying behaviours that are not appropriate, that causes a big impact on what goes on in the classroom.
All I wanted to do was move him so I could sit and look at his folder and tell him what to do. But I got this. I can't teach a kid like this.
In reality, the non-selective schools will have more behaviour issues with the students that come through than grammar school.
To take all the best kids out of the area and put them into one school, yes, it's great for them. They can push themselves, they can be more competitive. However, we are then left with the children whose behaviour needs a lot of attention. You can't teach because you're managing behaviour all the time. With one incident that happens, then another, then another. And in all of that time, all you want to do is teach.
It can be really hard trying to educate young people who actually don't see the value in what they're doing. But I don't think what would be fair would be a system where everybody is levelled to the same point, regardless of abilities, aspirations, or needs. As a grammar school, we adapt to our population. Students come here because they want to be here. They enjoy their time here and they want to learn more. So if you share an environment with other people who have a work ethic, are able and have potential, that is going to help you, that is going to drive you forward.
Hello there. Are you all right, darling? Right. Do you want me to come down then? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yes, please. Bye. Right, let's go. Someone's crying downstairs in bites, so I just need to go and find out what's going on.
At grammar schools like Townley, grouping together high-achieving pupils creates its own kind of pressure.
I'm really scared, and my grades aren't high enough, and I don't know how I'm going to get them higher because it's not going well.
Right, Miriam, first of all, you're not in the bottom 20 students, okay? This is normal. What you're feeling is normal. And you've got to block everybody else out. This is about you and your exams, because what everyone else is saying they're doing, they're probably not, deep down. It's about you.
Because it's just everything's coming so soon, and then this time next week, I'm going to be sitting my mocks.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this happens every year. Just before the mocks, everyone has a wobble. If I had £1 for every single girl in the last 12 years, I'd be a very rich lady. Okay? Everyone, it's natural. But as long as you know that you're doing your best...
Trying.
That's all that matters. When you get home, Miriam, what do you do?
I go up to my room and I revise.
Right.
And I normally don't get to bed until about 2.
It's too late. Too late. Way too late. You've got to remember, you are in one of the top performing schools in the country and you earn your place here. I feel that there's more pressure now. Maybe it's society, I don't know what it is, but our girls do want to do well, and it seems I've been here 12 years now, and they're just so greedy for it. They want it. They want to get those best results, but pressure is on them to do well all the time. Oh dear.
See you later.
Townley's Student Services Department has 4 staff.
Well, main criteria was
3 full-time support workers
see you later.
and Maisie, the school therapy dog.
So, what's the matter today?
I get a really bad pain.
Yeah, and I spoke to Mummy on the phone recently, and she did say that, you know, you have these pains quite a lot, and she thinks it's a bit of anxiety. Do you think it's anxiety? Okay. Some find the transition very, very difficult. The thing is, with anxiety, it can make you feel ill, you know, and the pain they feel or the sickness they feel is real, but it is all brought on by anxiety.
What's up? I bet you didn't.
No, I did. The guys are filming. Are you okay?
8 out of 15. Oh, well,
Okay.
No, 8 out of 50.
50, 50, 5-0. So as long as you try your hardest, that's all anyone can ask you to do. Okay? Yeah? And I know you're a genius, so when you're famous, you just have to remember that. Okay? Alright.
There's just a lot of pressure on them.
But yeah, fainting is second nature, I think, in a secondary school.
Yeah, I'd say 1 a week.
Yeah, averaging out. So some weeks you might not get any, but then some weeks you'll get like 3, so...
You'll get a couple a day, and usually if they go down, they're going to go again.
Yeah. Right, go on a break. See you later. Hey, girls.
Hi, Francesca says she doesn't feel very well.
Does somebody come and get you if you don't feel very well?
I don't want to go home because then I have to catch up on everything. And I'm not good at catching up.
Oh, I was never very good at catching up either. Well, do you want to just sit for the last 10 minutes and then we'll see how you feel?
I feel like I have a headache and I feel really dizzy. Mrs. Hogg said I should go home, but I don't want to because if I do, I have to catch up with stuff like for French and English and textiles. So I'm not really good at catching up with a lot of stuff. So then it's better if I stay here.
Sophie, take a seat. Girls, are you boxes? Right. Sophie's not feeling great. She's got cramps above her tummy button. Sophie, it's your anxiety, mate, and going home is not going to make it any better.
I wasn't going to say.
So we're just going to sit here for a little while and then, just sit and relax.
Yeah.
Okay, so all that tightness is just where you've got yourself in a bit of a pickle.
Oh, miss, can I have some paracetamol? Haven't got any paracetamol?
The paracetamol's animal. No, that was my joke. Why is there no painkillers in the jungle? Because the paracetamol, something like that.
That's really bad.
Have you marked her in?
Yeah.
We have obviously a lot of exam pressure, Everyone wants to do well, and that can have massive effects on your sleep. Lots of people don't eat properly. Eating and sleeping, big issues. Anxiety, so much anxiety at school.
I think it is because it's a grammar school as well, because most people here pass, if not they miss by 1 or 2 marks, the 11 plus, and if not they miss by 1 or 2 marks. And so everyone here is obviously pretty intelligent. If you aren't high, top part, lots of people do feel slightly inferior, and it's not because they are. It's just because there are very, very intelligent people here, and it's easy to feel like you're subpar compared to everyone else because you see the grades from the school that they get from the A levels and the GCSEs, and they're skyrocketing. And I do feel that they're not putting pressure on you, but you put pressure on yourself because you don't want to be that 1 year where everything dips.
Exactly. Is lots of the time, you get pressure from your parents, you get pressure from your teachers, but lots of pressure is put on yourself. You put so much pressure on yourself, it's actually ridiculous.
If you're very aspirational, if you care an awful lot about your academic attainment, then you're going to be more anxious. The majority of students at the school will at some point have some mental health issue, anxiety, stress, whichever. There won't be one probably term without at least one serious issue, and sometimes a lot more. I think it's national. We have particular types, more than others, perhaps, but I don't think it's significantly different. But I think what is significantly different is the availability of students being able to come and talk to someone or flag that or raise it and be addressed, and that's where we see the difference.
Despite everyone's efforts, 2 months into his first term at Erith School, Bradley has joined the list of excluded pupils.
It was an incident that involved a basketball that escalated to some physical behaviour between him and 1 or 2 other boys that then culminated in him using unacceptable racist language, which the students would know as the N-word. I wouldn't want to say where Bradley's got that language from. It could come from the home, it could come from friendships. We draw a line and cannot tolerate that.
Do you want to explain what happened to you, Brad, at school? The real version, not your version.
Basically, I was in a basketball court, and then 2 black United boys threw a ball and hit me on the head. I got angry, booted the ball, started barging me, telling me to go get the ball. I said no, and then they carried barging me, and then I said the N-word to them. Yeah.
But what made you do that, Brad?
I was peed off at the time,
And you think that makes it okay?
kind of.
And what he did was wrong, fair enough, but 5 days exclusion, I don't think it really achieves anything. It's more the grounding that I've given him for being excluded from school is much more of a punishment than not going to school. Because like I say, most of them don't want to go to school anyway.
You can take someone from grammar school and take someone from a normal school, and maybe they're just as smart. My sister got 8 A stars. I'm pretty sure that's just as good or even better than people who went to grammar school. Everyone has their own little journey and whatever. And maybe the way things turn out for you is the way it's meant to happen.
Should have been here earlier.
Are you for? It's not even 8:30. Oh, don't do that, man. Open up the gate. Thank you.
This term, 5 students have already been expelled from Erith School. After her confrontation with head of year, Lisa Courtley, Chi-Chi has been summoned to a meeting.
People think I have a problem controlling my temper, which I don't. It's just people need to control themselves around me because they're all stupid half the time anyway. I don't have any anger issues. I don't have any problems. I'm a very calm, collected person. But if you get on my nerves, then you're going to see a side of me that you don't want to see. And that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say I have no control over myself, blah, 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 anger issues, blah, 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 the way I talk to staff, blah, blah, blah. It's all a bunch of rubbish.
If Chi-Chi can't persuade the school that she's going to change her ways, she could risk permanent exclusion. Deputy Head Louisa Coppins has to decide her fate.
Lovely. Okay, Chi-Chi, do you want to just take that seat for me, please? We're just having a chat about some of the difficulties that there have been with your attitude recently. Do you want to explain to me what happened at the end of Monday, what you were asked to do?
I can't remember.
You can't remember. Should I help you jog your memory a bit? I think there was an incident where you were
talking to Miss Moore in the year office, and
Yeah.
I came in and you were actually being quite rude at that point.
You'd been quite abusive towards
Abusive,
your head
I
of year.
wouldn't say is the word at all.
Okay, well, the abusive is
That's
abusive
quite.
is-
That's quite. It's a very broad word to use.
Okay, well,
abusive.
we could quibble at another time about my use of the English language. What I'm saying is you're not following instructions and you're being quite rude. So your difficulty is you've had a 16-day exclusion and you've had your final warning from the governors. I don't see any contrition or any acceptance in your demeanour or in what you're telling me that you even understand that you've done something wrong. And for a girl who's in A band, I find it quite worrying. Mrs. Courtney's not done anything wrong. Mrs. Courtney has been on the receiving end of you being quite rude and abusive.
My issue that day was that I was having a conversation with Miss Moore and not Mrs. Courtney. So when Mrs. Courtney came in and said something, it derailed me because I was talking to Miss Moore.
I've got a really difficult decision that I need to start thinking about, Chi-Chi.
Miss Moore is your teacher. I know has put a lot of time and effort into you. And it's awful coming in and hearing you talk to her the way that you did on Monday.
I think from my point of view, what teachers aren't understanding is that education is something I value very much. So when I was taken out of school for 16 days and then brought back, and then there's always teachers on my case questioning me, it upsets me because they have this idea of me that I'm some sort of ball of anger, always burst. I'm not an angry person, I'm not. But them constantly talking to me like I'm some sort of problem now, like I'm some sort of issue. It annoys me because I'm not.
What, are you holding on to that exclusion, Chi-Chi? Is that what it is?
If I'm honest, yeah.
Okay, you've got to let that go because that exclusion is done and dusted.
Yeah, but it's the fact that I'm facing at your mocks, and in the 16 days, everything in the mocks is what I missed. And it's the fact that you guys gave me that, and I can't get all the content that I missed back.
The decision was made by the head teacher, okay? That is a fait accompli, that's done. What we can do is support any gaps in knowledge, anything that you feel you need to catch up on, but we can't bring back those lessons. We all know it's not easy being a teenager. We've been a teenager many years ago, okay? We know you've got high ambitions for university and a career and all those things. We know that. However, you've kind of got a little bit big for your boots over the last few days.
I think so too.
Okay, you agree? And what we need to do is we need to support you in getting back in the smaller boots so you get back to just being a regular student doing work where you're not in conflict. I do not want to be excluding you from school, Chi-Chi.
I have a lot that I aspire to be. So her bringing up the idea of me no longer being in school dawned on me like, raw, like, no job, no education, no degree, no nothing, disappointment to my family name, disappointment to my parents, disappointment to my mum especially, who works very hard to make sure that I do well. It just dawned on me like, what are they trying to do? And I just got really upset.
Our difficulty is we have to decide, are we going to put sanctions in place for rudeness, aggression towards members of staff, which will be the end of her career at this school? We don't want to do that. Or are we going to try and work with her? However, she's a complicated young lady.
Good. Yeah?
At Townley, Year 11 are getting a taste of sixth form. Uniform rules have been relaxed and they're allowed out of school during breaks. But as ever, Moesha is pushing the boundaries. She's headed into town without handing in her homework.
Unfortunately, Moesha, this is her story. She has got much better.
You like her, don't you?
I do like her. I do.
She's got a bit of spirit.
I like her with a bit of spirit.
Martina from the Year 11 office wants to get to the bottom of what's been going on.
Sorry, Moesha, was you doing a test? Yeah. Well, Moesha, what happened? Was you meant to see Miss Bannister at lunchtime today?
Oh, yeah.
What was it for?
Homework.
Right, what you haven't done?
Yeah, I'm going to hand it in to her.
Have you done it?
Yeah.
You've done it?
It's in my locker.
Right, you need to make sure you've got that homework at the end of the day.
Okay.
Okay, and what did you do when you went up to the Broadway?
Just got lunch.
Got lunch. Nando's?
McDonald's.
McDonald's, of course. Right, okay, go and get your test done and I'll see you after school.
Yeah.
Okay, see you later. I've just been along to speak to Moesha.
Yes.
Now, she said she should have handed you some homework.
She should. Three
Right.
sheets.
Now, she's told me they're in her locker.
Right, they're in the folder if you want to go and get it, and they're not even attempted.
And she told me a different story. She just told me that she's done the homework and it's in her locker.
She can go and get it now then and give it to me.
But she's in detention with me after school for late detention, so she should be sitting outside our office for
Yeah,
half
well,
an
I'm
hour.
going to give her another after school detention.
Right, okay.
Because I just want the work to mark.
Right, okay.
Because your marks are starting next week.
I know. Thank you very much, Miss
No
Bannister.
problem.
Thank you. Plot thickens. See, they think we don't communicate. So
Unravel that for me.
the homework she was meant to have done last week for Miss Bannister, and she hasn't done it. But I've just gone to speak to Marisha, and she said that the homework's in her locker because she thinks we haven't communicated.
Has she fibbed you ever so slightly?
Yes, a little white lie.
Now Marisha has 2 back-to-back detentions.
You would have said, Liz, I've been given permission to leave the school. What do you think Miss Bannister would have said?
To come and see her at another time.
She would have said that, but now it's cost you another detention, hasn't it? How long was it for? Did she write? An hour after school. Marisha. What am I going to do with you, Marisha? We're getting there. Come on. Okay? Just a little blip. You've had a good day today, though.
Yeah, now it's ruined.
No, it's not ruined. Show me that smile. That's better. Good girl.
See the tension. I've got enough on tomorrow. They're treating me like a kid still. And it's frustrating, but...
She was upset. She wasn't happy there, but we keep on. She just needs a little bit more sort of scaffolding around her, you know, it's so she doesn't go completely off the rails.
Marisha finds it hard to control her emotions and her attitude. She can be easily distracted, and she may have been easily distracted elsewhere. But I think here, she's surrounded by girls whose behaviour on the majority is very, very good, and they're very ambitious and they're very hard-working. That's got to rub off on you.
Come on, guys, get a hustle on, please.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Bradley's been excluded for a week. He and his dad have been called in for a readmission meeting.
If you and your dad want to sit down here...
Sit at the naughty end, eh?
First thing I'm going to ask you to do is just explain to everyone here what you did wrong that meant you were fixed term excluded, Bradley.
I called a black guy, a black young boy, the N-word.
Okay, so you racially abused another member of the school community. Where have you learnt language like that?
My older brothers.
From your older brothers?
Yeah.
Okay, so people in your family would use that language? Dad might disagree with that. What he thinks?
Yeah. They're Woolwich boys. You know, they're in and out of trouble.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons we moved out down here, to get away
Okay.
from all of that. They're in and out of prison, and yeah, they're wayward. Second oldest one's in there now for a
Right.
severe case of stupidness again.
Okay.
You know. So it's difficult.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
He is basically a good kid.
So Bradley, it's all a learning experience for you, isn't it? But what you've learned, most of all, is that there would never be a justification for anybody ever using that language. Okay. Thanks, miss. Thank you.
I'm going to show Ray.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, see you later.
Thank you very much. Take
Yeah.
care.
Have you learned by what you've done?
Yeah.
Are you going to do it again?
No.
No.
I don't know.
I don't like the way you paused.
With Bradley, he needs a lot of support. Sometimes we call them a lifer. We've had some children in the past, they're lifers, and they stay with us till they leave.
How helpful has it been to have a learning mentor?
Really helpful because like I can speak about how I'm feeling to other people. It feels like I've relieved all my anger, and then I could start fresh the next day again.
Bradley will continue being taught in smaller classes, and he'll still see Anne regularly.
What we've set up for him here, I think it's looking positive. Every time I say something like that, it's wrong. So maybe I'll take that back. But yeah, I think it is. I feel positive about him. Yeah.
What are we doing Monday for our lesson? Wait, you read the dictionary?
At Townley, Moesha's been called back to see Mrs. Blaisby at the end of term.
Moesha, we've had a sort of up and down term. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Number one, key to success is your good behaviour. We know that you can be exemplary. And I spoke to your form tutor today and she says you're house captain.
Yeah.
And that you're very key in the role, which is brilliant, Moesha. You are a leader. I now want you to take responsibility in the other lessons because it's not just your progress, it's everybody else's. So where do you want to be next year?
Probably here.
I hope you are. I'd love to see you back at Townley and I think you've got so much potential. I've told you that before. And I'm going to have perfect behaviour.
Yeah.
I'm going to have that Moesha that I had at the beginning of term. That Moesha is about to smirk and smile. That's the Moesha I want.
I think I'm edging towards staying.
If I went to a normal school, I'd feel like, oh, if everyone else in the school gets low, why do I think that I can get like an A-star? Because the results for Townley are usually like so high, I just feel like if they can do it and they've had like the same teachers that I've had, then there's no reason why I can't. So yeah.
At Erith, Chi-Chi is off the hook for now. She's promised to make an effort to avoid trouble. And she's found a mentor in Miss Wilton Woodell, her science teacher.
She tries to keep me in check. She's everything I aspire to be. She's very successful, and she's just amazing, I think.
How are you?
I'm alright. Actually, wait, I haven't had a bad day today.
That's good.
Actually, wait. No.
You're thinking surgery, so that means med school, and we just think, how are we going to get from here to whatever med school there is?
Chi-Chi's got just 6 months until her GCSEs, and she's aiming high.
So you want to leave with A's, ultimately?
Yeah, I just want to be like successful and amazing, like people in history,
Mhm.
like Florence Nightingale, stuff like that.
It's a tough world up there.
Yeah.
Yeah? This is why I keep saying I don't want to see you amongst the people who are making the most noise or getting you into the most trouble.
The riffraff.
Because every single time you are called out of a lesson to go to reflection, or you have a detention after school,
It's time wasting.
it's time wasting. It's your time is being wasted, and the teachers are having to chase after you because you're doing the wrong thing.
They like doing it though. That's the thing.
Let's try and rein our emotions in. You're very emotional, and sometimes it does come through as anger.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is control it and channel it towards just getting things done and being hardworking.
Okay. Anything I say comes out so wrong because of my tone. I can't change my tone though. What the hell? Kinda.
Get out.
TTYL. Love you.
Just go home.
Love you, miss.
What have you got planned for the rest of the season?
Obviously, chill with the gang, go home, get some revision done, and that's me done.
Okay. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Next time.
What gets me to hit my potential and get the grades I deserve? You're looking at anything that gives you an advantage.
The story of 2 students facing their crucial GCSE exams.
I just want to do really well, to be honest, that's all.
One at a secondary modern,
Everything starts from now. 11 plus was one thing, this is another.
one at a grammar school.
But if the actual predicted grades are at this lower level, then I will obviously have to send a letter home.
I'm so scared.